the easiest way to lose something is to take it for granted.
Wow.
Right. And so the enemy doesn't have to actually take anything from you. If you just take it for granted, then you lose it.
Yeah.
And so I always wanted to make sure that even in my business pursuits, even in everything else in my life, that like my family was going to get more attention, more priority, more focus than everything else.
Yeah. I'm Rhett.
And I'm Brandon.
And we're the House Dads, because we're dads who sell houses.
But we're also husbands, business owners, sports freaks, Christians,
friends, marketing nerds, TV show bingers, and so many more things.
Like so many of you, we're just trying to do it all. And we're trying to do it well.
And that's what we're here to talk about. Welcome back, guys. Episode 2 of House Dads Podcast. We are, as always, excited that you're giving us some of your time to listen to see what we have to say. So just a little disclaimer of what the next couple of episodes are going to look like. We want you to know who the heck you're listening to. So we figured we would give a little insight on who we are as people, as business owners, to gain a little credibility with you. And episode 2, we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite topic, which is Brandon Richoux. All about you, brother.
Okay, well, here we go.
You excited?
Yeah, I mean, I think this could potentially be our longest podcast ever.
You love to talk about
yourself? Yeah, I mean, we can. No, I'm kidding.
No,
I
get it. No,
right.
You're a great communicator, so I definitely understand the natural ability to go longer.
Yeah, sometimes I have that tendency.
It's okay.
You
No.
know.
So yeah, we are going to be talking all about you, brother. And but I guess to start off, tell us about kind of your upbringing, and obviously you don't go into the depths of your childhood.
Yeah, we'll bring out all the childhood trauma.
Yeah, all
right
your childhood
here
trauma. We this is a therapy session. No, but just kind of give us set the stage of where you kind of came from.
Sure.
And all that kind of stuff.
So I grew up in New Orleans, West Bank, Gretna, baby.
Oh,
Yeah, so all my family is from down there.
okay.
New Orleans, Barataria, Lafitte areas, my dad's side of the family and whatnot. But grew up in New Orleans, had an awesome upbringing, man. I have unbelievable parents.
That's awesome.
Mom and dad, still blessed and thankful that they live right down the road from me. But just an unbelievable upbringing. Grew up there with my grandma. My grandma's lived with us our entire life as well. And so grew up there in New Orleans. About third or fourth grade, we relocated. My dad had been in the mortgage business forever.
Okay.
And so he opened up an AmeriQuest mortgage branch in Greenville, South Carolina.
AmeriQuest.
Yeah. Lived there for a year and a half and then moved back home. I say moved back home. This is what happened was my mom was born and raised in New Orleans, always lived there. And so to get a Louisiana girl out of Louisiana, it's the whole deal. It's hard to get her out.
Right.
So Dad said he was not coming back to New Orleans. So we settled in Denham Springs.
Denham
Springs.
Next best option.
Yeah, that's right. So we got close, but not all the way back.
Yeah.
And the rest was history, man. Junior high, high school, all the way up through Denham. Still live here.
Yeah.
And I have pretty deep roots.
So you got the LP roots.
LP, baby. I'm like,
Are you an LP person?
I proudly claim LP.
Love it.
But I don't carry around a pocket knife. Like it's that kind of.
we needed one earlier.
It's that, yeah. I mean, it's like it's that kind of LP.
Failed us there.
I mean, I still wear skinny jeans, so it's like
Okay.
that kind of LP.
Yeah. So what do you feel like your current family dynamic? Unless I skipped ahead, unless you had more.
No. I mean, coming up, I mean, had a great family, and I played high school football here at Denham, and a lot of great relationships and things like that.
Yeah.
And I love Denham and the high school, and still connected and everything there. And then I went to Southeastern. When I was in school at Southeastern, met Courtney, my wife.
Nice.
Had a friend invited me to a church camp, and I'm a freshman in college, and I was like, bro, I'm not going to church camp. Like it just in that phase, in that season of my life, just was not what I was interested in doing. And he's like, man, it's at the beach. There's going to be girls there. I was like, all right, I'm in.
Fine.
Yeah. So end up going, meeting my wife, really just getting back involved in church and rededicated my life to the Lord. And so started to meet and date her throughout college, and I got a finance degree from Southeastern. So in the middle of that, was interning around, doing different stuff to figure out if I was going to sell insurance and investments for the rest of my life or what I was going to do. And my wife and I got married in 2014.
How old were you? Do you know?
22.
Okay. Ooh,
22.
Young girl.
She was 21.
Okay.
And so senior year of college, graduated, got married, and at that same time, when I'm graduating, trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. And so we kind of figured out, like, okay, am I going to continue this finance route? Am I going to go into real estate. The only reason that even started coming up was because my dad, who had been in mortgage finance for years and years and years, had just started residential real estate brokerage.
Right.
So, man, you ought to get your license. I was like, well, again, I love my parents. It's like, but being in business with Dad, like, do I want to do that?
That's a dynamic to think about.
And so I got my license just to have it. Courtney and I are talking about starting a family and all these different things. And I'm also evaluating and wondering, with this finance degree, I just went to school for 4 years. Like, how am I putting my finance degree actually to use, selling real estate?
Right.
So when Courtney and I got married in August of 2014, I had 3 jobs. I was still working with the internship that I was doing, selling life insurance and some investments and things like that. Just had my real estate license, just getting that ball rolling. And then I was doing some manual labor, installing glass windows, baby.
Wow.
So, yeah, all those fog panes and things like that. I have a lot of experience on replacing those windows.
There you go. Okay.
Just trying to make ends meet because Courtney was still in school. She was nannying, all those different things.
Man, that's a stressful time of anyone's life. I feel like trying to figure out where the heck am I going to go?
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, like that graduation phase or just stepping out of school, whatever it is, and like, okay, wait, I have to figure out.
Yeah, you feel the pressure of having to have it all figured out.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So what it looked like was we got married in August. I had my first closing in real estate the week after we got back from our honeymoon. And, it was awesome. I felt like, okay, well, this is something that I could see myself doing. Yeah. I just didn't know how I would possibly be able to provide for my wife, quite frankly, like off of this eat what you kill type of deal.
Right.
Like, there's no consistency. I didn't know when a paycheck would come. So I continued just working 9 to 5, installing glass windows. Yeah. And then also slinging insurance and what on the side. But I just realized I had to kind of go ahead and put aside the fact that, I spent 4 years doing this finance stuff, but I don't want to move. I don't want to go work at Edward Jones or an investment firm.
Shout out.
Hopefully we don't get a sponsorship offer from Edward Jones.
We do support Edward Jones.
We got friends that work at Edward Jones, but like that was one of the job offers I got, and it was just like, okay, wait, this is just not what I want for my future. I want some flexibility. I want the an unlimited amount of opportunity to create income for myself and things like that. So it just wasn't the direction I wanted to go. And so for the next couple of months, had a couple other closings. And at the end of 2014, going into 2015, I was like, hold up. I saw the money I made in real estate, the no money I made in installing glass windows, the no money I did in insurance and investments. And I was like, I got to go all in on this thing. And so after 2015, it was all in.
All in. Was that like a conversation you had to have?
It was a conversation with myself and then some other people in the office. Like, man, you gonna quit playing or what?
Yeah.
And that was it. And it was a faith walk too. Real estate taught me a lot about my faith and being able to trust God to provide, to be a good steward. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like, okay, He's given me talents, He's given me connections and relationships and abilities, but to steward what He's given, to trust it and to work it, and it works well.
Yeah. So, and you've been in the business how long now?
So it's in 2014. So, my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I remember you had a pretty quick start, like good successful start. As far as
sure.
Like, once Brandon hit the scene full time, I remember you hitting it. So, how do you feel like you what sparked the growth? Like, how did you kind of grow your business?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was the discipline for sure. I remember my first year full time in 2015. I did incredibly well in my own eyes. Sold, good bit of houses, like $6 million in volume first year out, just rocking and rolling.
That's awesome.
And I'll say some of it was lucky. Like it was just happenstance. Like I happened into a few deals that just worked out well, and I kind of rested on that. And I'll never forget in 2016, I went the first 4 months of the year with no closing because I took Courtney on like 3 trips. Yeah. We were going somewhere for Thanksgiving, twice in December, and I just didn't learn the discipline of continue to refill my pipeline, continue to work hard, continue to discipline myself. And so really my business shifted in 2016. Yeah. I got lucky in 2015, I'll be honest with you. And then in 2016, I realized the commitment that it actually took. Regardless if I had anything scheduled, I was going to show up and I was going to work and I was going to put in the effort. And then from 2016 till about 2018, I really just continued to do what I could to master and focus on my business and learning real estate, learning the ins and outs of that as well, and then transitioning into more of a managing and I got my broker's license and took over as associate.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
because I remember you said the 2016, 2018. This is a sidebar, and I think I've told you this before, but fun fact, I actually did not like Brandon.
I think I know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I kind of do.
So
2016 is what hit it for me.
Yes,
Yeah.
So this is the time where even in my career, where it's early on, every single client mattered, right? Which obviously they still matter now. But
Shout out, yeah.
you put a lot of eggs in baskets
Right.
of clients and relationships.
Right.
And friends of ours they bought a house
Yeah.
with Brandon, and not me. And I was like, who is this freaking dude? And I had a grudge, and that's like the early years where you're insecure
for
and
sure.
trying to find that calling and stuff. But yeah, I remember like not liking
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So it's funny, fast forwarding now, here we are doing a podcast.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah.
So that's sidebar.
Yeah.
Show you what it's really like inside the. So yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
cut you off there. You're getting kind of
No,
the
no, no.
managerial broker role.
Yeah. So I got my broker's license as soon as I could. Was licensed in 2014. So 4 years later, got my broker's license in 2018, and just kind of started acting as our associate broker for our brokerage.
Okay.
And taking on some more training stuff, training some of our new agents, and facilitating some of the staff training that we did. And then that evolved for still continuing to focus on my individual sales, continue to push that, to whereas now serving as sponsoring broker and owner of our company. My dad's been removed kind of from the day-to-day for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. So as the time went, your role kind of grew.
Yeah.
More
It grew.
and more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. So I'm backtracking a little bit too, but
Sure.
like, what would you say you contribute? You may have already said it, but your growth to, like, is there one thing? Is there two things? Is it just?
Yeah, I would say it's twofold. I think the first thing was realizing, and my dad had always told me this, and I'm sure it's, it's from some good business author like Zig Ziglar or something like that. But he said, if you would be the toughest boss on yourself that you'd ever have, then you'd be the richest employee that you'd ever have.
Love it.
So I wanted the unlimited ability to produce and provide for my family, and also have the freedom and flexibility to do things I'm passionate about, like ministry and all the things that I'm called to do in other areas. And so I wanted the best of both worlds. But initially, I wanted all of it without the actual effort to get in. Right. And that's what I try and teach our people now, and would tell anybody, is that when you're starting any kind of business, and especially in real estate, like, you expend most of the energy getting it started. It's like the jet plane expending 95% of its fuel on takeoff. It's getting it off the ground. And so initially in those early years, I felt like it would be putting in more time and not producing the same amount of results, to where in the future or today, not that I'm putting in less time, that we're still grinding, we're still hustling and things like that, but you're reaping the fruits of the seed that you planted 5 and 6 and 7 years ago.
Exactly.
So that, along with coupling the responsibility of having a wife that you want to take care of, and she's teaching and she's doing these things, and you want her to start staying home. So it was some increased responsibility too. Right. And so I wanted to retire her early and get her at home with our boys. That's part of it too. We had Maximus, and then who's now 4, and Lucas, who's 2, my 2 little boys.
Powerful name, by the way.
Don't
Maximus.
you love that?
Shoot.
See, tell you the type of swing that I took at Courtney early on.
What do you think about Maximus?
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it was one of our first dates.
Really?
I was
right out the gate.
obsessed with Gladiator. Still to this day. I mean, the best movie of all time.
It's pretty good.
Like, Are You Not Entertained?
Yeah.
The whole deal. Like, it's Russell Crowe's amazing in that. And so it's just one of my favorite movies of all time. But I told her, and I think we might have watched Gladiator early on. I just threw her right in the midst of it. Like, we're watching this.
This is what I'm about.
Yeah.
You don't like it.
So what do you think? I always want to name my son Maximus. She's like, okay.
Okay.
No, when it came back around, she's pregnant. I'm like, here we go, Maximus.
You remember
time.
that time? Yeah, Maximus.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got you sidetracked there.
Yeah.
But Maximus, powerful name.
That's right. It is.
I guess what does your business look like now? Like, do you feel like you're pretty much fully into a managerial role, or are you still selling yourself? Obviously,
yeah, it's a combination of the two, for sure. Yeah, I do have a lot on my plate. To be honest with you, though, I really wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah,
I really wouldn't.
That's awesome.
But it is a combination. It's a mixture. I mean, now I get to take care of my past clients, my friends, my family, through referrals and whatnot. And then what I'm helping do in this season of my life is the business. By no means have I had it figured out, but the business that I've been able to produce over the last several years is to help as many people duplicate that as possible. So trying to create that same thing for our agents now. Yeah. And then also, the other passions in businesses that, God's put on my heart and wanting to develop and to go into. And that's one thing. So I serve as the student pastor at our church.
You got another thing on your plate.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so, it's the old youth pastor joke. Nobody would do it if they weren't called to do it.
Right.
Like hanging out with a bunch of high schoolers. But no, I love it. I remember, youth pastors growing up that made massive impacts on my life. And so if I could do that for somebody, and my wife, she takes so much of that responsibility to where I can kind of show up and just hang out and preach and invest in them. So she does the behind the scenes with that. But so it really is now in this next season of my life. I say it like I'm getting old. I guess I am getting old.
I don't see any gray hairs yet.
No, white's in the beard.
Okay.
That's where it's happening.
Okay.
But anyway, this next season of my life is helping as many people as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just kind of, I feel like I don't have it figured out by any means, but some track record of success. How do we help other people do that as well?
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're obviously pretty strong in like multitasking, and putting a lot on your plate. So, but I'm gonna put you on the spot and like, what are some weaknesses you feel like?
Weaknesses. I would say,
to preface, we're not coming from a standpoint of like we know everything.
No.
We got it all together. We're bringing you along the journey of like we're trying to figure it out too.
Yeah.
So I feel like talking about the weaknesses is a thing a lot of people don't do.
Weaknesses, man, overcommitting.
Yeah, there you go.
Overcommitting. And I think, it sounds cliche and it sounds simple, but like a lot of times I think when we overcommit, what it does is it, even if we can fulfill and follow through with our commitment, if we don't do it with our best, then it's just a haphazard effort.
Yeah.
And so I think overcommitting, and so learning to tell people no, that actually my no is more important than a yes.
Yeah.
And so learning that a lot lately, and that being one of my weaknesses. But I think also too, and I think this goes along with that, is delegation and trusting people. Mm-hmm. Trusting people and really being able to delegate tasks and say, you know what, the whole saying, if somebody can do something, people say different percentages, but if somebody can do something 50% as good as you, let them do it and figure out the rest. I'm like, maybe 80%.
Yeah, let's try to up that a little bit.
Yeah, can we give them to 80% and then turn it over to them?
Right.
So learning to delegate, learning to trust, overcommitting, some of those things, I would say.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But we're not overcommitting to a podcast. We're committing to a podcast. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just put that out.
Yeah, I want to see something through.
Yeah.
Always.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit, but like, what's your family life like?
It's amazing, man. It's insane. Like, I love it, and I can't wait to get into talking about your family and everything like that too. But and it seems cliche or whatnot, but it fuels everything that I do.
Yeah.
Like, I think about if my life was different, and I'm like, I just don't know that I would have the motivation to do what I do in business and in other things without the motivation of my family. Yeah. And that's one of the things that we'll talk about here, throughout the rest of our time doing this podcast. But like, is that I don't want to. This is something that my pastor's dad used to always say, and it stuck with me from a young age. He said, the easiest way to lose something is to take it for granted.
Wow.
Right? And so the enemy doesn't have to actually take anything from you. If you just take it for granted, then you lose it. Yeah. And so I always wanted to make sure that even in my business pursuits, even in everything else in my life, that like my family was going to get more attention, more priority, more focus than everything else. Yeah. Because it's the most important thing to me. Yeah. Like, why would I be even chasing and pursuing all these things in business if it wasn't for them? Right. And so my boys, man, are insanely active. Like, they don't shut off. Like, it's just insane, but I love it. We just got back from Disney, and we both did that around the same time. And like, I remember texting you about your experience and like, what's the tips and stuff before, but like just spending time with them, making these memories where, you have those core memories. I'm like, man, I want to just inject as many core memories that they remember with their dad. Yeah. Whether it's just Disney or whether it's playing superheroes on the couch at home. Yeah. And then like Courtney, she truly is she's my rock, man. And I know it's just like at the end of a day, sitting in the bed with her, not watching a show or nothing, but just talking about our days is the best part of my day every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously half of the name of our podcast is Dads, House Dads.
Right.
So we'll absolutely, I'm sure, touch more on as future episodes, about dynamics of parenting and like the struggles, the wins, the fails. Right. So But man, that's awesome. Do you anything else worth mentioning? You feel like as far as what the people need to know?
Man, like I said, I could go on.
Yeah,
and on.
Or we will over the next however many podcasts.
I'm kidding. There's really not that much to talk about.
No, everyone loves
for
talking
me.
about Brandon Richoux, man.
Not that much, man. I'm just excited to
Yeah.
continue to help some folks out. And hopefully this podcast will do that. I believe that it will.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So, well, yeah, we appreciate you guys listening as we're wrapping up. We're just starting this thing. So if you get any value from this, of course, we're learning each other, right?
Yeah.
We didn't necessarily give you much value, but we're giving you, I feel like we're giving credibility.
That's right.
We're giving you a reason. You're hearing our stories of what we have gone through, what we're going through, and where we want to go, right? We didn't really touch much on like future goals and aspirations, but I think we can talk about that in the near future. So all that to say, if you would just share this with someone, share a podcast clip or just a mention, that would go leaps and bounds for us.
For sure, we would.
As we try to grow it. So can't wait to talk. I can't wait to talk about myself. Next episode is about myself. But
You're
either
excited
way,
about it.
Yeah, I just can't wait to talk about
honest.
myself. But no,
I
we're
am
excited for the future episodes. If you have topics in the meantime you want to hear about, by all means, let us know. Reach out. But yeah, thanks for listening.
That's it.